What is the most dangerous thing people don't realize is all that dangerous? Using rocks from a river to make a fire pit. Yes, I was living in the bush for a while, and some others had decided to make a fire pit, but I hadn't known about this. Luckily, it was later in the day, and by the time the rocks had heated up and exploded, everyone had left for bed. But you definitely still need to use some rocks. There was another fire pit made without any stones, and eventually the roots of the trees caught on fire and was just slowly burning beneath the ground. It took roughly 60 liters of water to put it out, and the ground just sank a good foot or two down. I had read something like that happening a few weeks before on Reddit, so I recognized immediately what was going on when I saw the smoke. So thanks to the random Redditor that posted about this happening to them. Let your rocks dry out, or use rocks that are located further up the bank from the river so they're less likely to contain as much water. Tripping. The human body has weirdly perfect proportions for hurting itself from an uncontrolled fall onto a hard surface, drunken scuffles, friends messing about, navigating a dark apartment, getting in and out of the shower, hurrying up or downstairs, etc. Any of these that result in your head falling from about standing height and hitting the ground can very well result in your demise or somebody else's. Lots of people have had their lives ruined by this, as they either caused someone to fall, fell themselves, or had a close family member fall. One bad fall in a drunk fight turns it from a scuffle into manslaughter. Heck, even if you're lucky enough to avoid a closed head injury, a fall can royally screw you up. I recently dislocated my hip by tripping over a curb while carrying groceries and slamming hip first into the pavement. If a fall like that can pop a relatively fit 33-year-old woman's thigh bone out of its socket, just think of the damage it could do to someone older or frailer. I'm so glad that you posted this. I just read this and had posted about animals tripping people recently. The older I get, the more I realize just how easy it is to trip and fall. I have had people's pets dart between my legs while walking, cats just stop right in my path, and dogs on leashes try to weave between us while walking. I won't give up my pets or ask anyone else to do that, but everyone should just be more aware of how easily pets can become the reason for a trip or fall. Oh my god, yes. Why the hell do cats freaking do this? I swear cats are just in this huge cult and plotting to destroy humans while acting all cute and whatnot. I can't count how many times my cat has made me trip and almost fall because they also have to dart in front of me and stop. I read a theory that they are essentially trying to herd their pet human towards things they want, or to prevent them from going somewhere that is in the opposite direction of where they want you to go. If you set the headrest in your car too low, it can break your neck during a car crash. It shouldn't even be called a headrest, it should be called a headstop. It can act as a wedge during whiplash, breaking your neck on the return swing. The middle of the headrest should be aligned with your ears. This is particularly important for women who often set it too low, so it doesn't cause discomfort when their hair is tied in a ponytail or a bun. Lots of people are saying this sucks for tall people. Yeah, I'm tall and I'm aware. I highly recommend checking out Del DeMuro on YouTube before buying a car. He's also tall if I recall correctly. That will give you a good indication about how well you'll fit in the car you're looking at. My parents, now in their late 50s, were taught to align the top of the headrest with the top of their ears. I was taught to always keep the top of it a little higher than the top of my head, since the force of a collision could lift me from my seat, leading to a neck injury. I'm pretty damn glad to be driving when experience has changed these rules and safety is a concern, but I wish more older people stayed up to date on this stuff. Being knocked out. I guess a lot of people know that it is dangerous, but probably a good amount don't. We see it in movies all the time. People get punched in the head with fists, chairs, pistols, etc. Then they wake up somewhere else, with maybe a minor headache, but are pretty much good to go. I am not a doctor, but I can only assume that sustaining head trauma that is enough to render you unconscious is something pretty serious. You have to go to a hospital after something like that. You don't just walk it off. Also, fighting in general is quite dangerous, yet you see people getting in physical altercations all the time for minor things. I have seen a video in my hometown where one guy punches another in the head, who then falls down back on his head and just starts twitching. There is a very good chance that the guy just ruined his own life and the life of the other dude. And for what? Because he looked at him funny or something. Concussions are no joke, and if there is more force in the blow, you get risks of skull fracture, neck injuries, facial fractures, cerebral bleeding due to blood vessel rupture, or outright traumatic brain injury. In general, losing consciousness without being very drunk means something is very, very wrong. Someone twitching on the ground is extremely bad news. It is well known that the smell of rotten eggs means a gas leak. What is not well known is that the smell of rotten fish is equally as dangerous in a house. The smell of rotten fish in a house is almost always followed by an electrical fire. I had this happen in an office with maybe 30 co-workers. We came in on a Monday morning and it stank so bad. Everyone was convinced there was a dead mouse or rat in the wall, but I kept saying I think it has that stink, but there's also a smell of burnt plastic. The closest thing I could relate it to is that a soldering iron just touched something wrong. Like my brother goofing off burning a hole in a toy. It turns out it was a wire fricking up. I think the fire department came out and carved off a chunk out of the wall. My friends were mystified, like how could you tell? It wasn't a mouse. But it totally just smelled like something died, plus the burnt plastic smell. Weirdly, years later, I found out that I'm a super taster and sniffer, and got professionally trained as a taste tester for cereal. Getting your neck adjusted. I actually had a very bad experience with a chiropractor who seemed like a great guy and came highly recommended. I told him about the tension around my neck and to be careful, which he was. Initially, I felt 10 years younger afterwards. All it took was a couple of light punches of an adjustment pen on my neck, and I had a transient ischemic attack later that day that took over a month to recover from and forced me to resign from my job. I feel very lucky that no permanent damage occurred. I will never let a chiropractor touch my neck in any way again. Good chiropractors are worth their weight in gold. Bad ones can really screw you up forever. Sadly, the good ones are few and far between. I had issues with my neck, chest and back that medical doctors ignored, and they told me it was all in my head. The chiropractor I decided to go to took me seriously, and he legitimately changed my life. However, I got lucky and he was trained in multiple other areas. He requested x-rays prior to treatment, and to this day I feel so much better. I would never trust the ones who don't believe in science and don't have a good record. The person I see now is very cautious but very good at his job. I really wanted to add that last comment in because it's important to realize that, yes, chiropractors can be dangerous if not properly trained, but they can also save you from some serious pain. The problem in society currently is that there are a ton of chiropractors around now because of all those bone-cracking videos, and a lot of them are in it for money and clout. The important thing is to do your research, and when you meet them beforehand, if they don't ask for x-rays or any kind of medical history, you probably shouldn't use them.